Hello, it's talkie time, and I wanted to talk about Liverpool this summer. Basically, Liverpool's transfer window. It hasn't been a good season, obviously, and this is basically it's just a video about what my dream summer would look like. What I wish they could do, and sort of like a more realistic thing on what I think maybe they will do or what they could do. Something I want to start with also is I'm going to be talking about players going. I, I want to state everyone that's had anything to do with the success of this club. I love them all. I don't want any of them to go on and have like shit times or anything like that. I don't really care what they go on to do, but I don't want them to go on have like a shit time. At the end of the day, when they've left Liverpool, thanks for what you've done for us, but it's not like I want them going on to start like winning the league or win the Champions League at other clubs. Like, I'm happy for Diaz and what he's done since he left. I thought he had to go and he's gone. Well done to him for what he's done. But I also sort of just don't care. So there's some things in terms of, okay, we can start with right back. I have no issue with Conor Bradley. And his most recent injury is more like, that's not sort of to do with injury, being injury prone. That's just an injury that he's got. Things like that just happen. He's twisted his knee a funny way or whatever the fuck he's injured with, and obviously that's put him out, but he is also injury prone. Now I would give him next season to see how he gets on, because we have got like Soboslai and he can fill in at right back, so it's not where you want him, but I think for now that's sort of it is a position you could look at, but it's not really that big a deal, and I think you can get away with not getting another right back. At centre back, I'd like for Canate to sign a new contract, but if he doesn't, even if he does, to be honest, I'd go and sign Bastoni. That's what I do think is realistic. And I don't see any reason that you can't do it. I haven't seen Bastoni play, and that's what I want to state as well. It's rare that I watch other teams play. I'm watching Liverpool, and that's really it. I don't really care to watch other teams. I'll see highlights and stuff like that, from like Champions League games if I put the highlights on or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, I just watch Liverpool. So any of these suggestions, I'm not coming at it like, oh, I know this, and I'm gonna start screaming stats and all stupid shit like that. I'll talk about players where it's not that I've never seen other players play. Sometimes I will put another game on and have a look at it and that, but not really. I just watch Liverpool. So Bastoni, I think, is someone that I've seen in the media on Twitter, basically, that he's going for Inter looking on letting him go for a decent price, and I've seen around 50 million euros, 60, 70 million euros, any of those fees. I think for someone who's 25, 26, however old he is, left-footed, left-sided centre-back when Van Dijk's coming towards the end of his career, I think that's definitely something you go and do, 100%. I'd get Robertson on a new contract, or obviously if you bring them back, Simicast, but I just would prefer Robertson to just stay and sign a new contract. That speaks for itself, to be honest. Midfield, unfortunately, I just don't think Curtis Jones is good enough. I think he's the type of player that could go to Italy and get looked at as an unbelievable player, because it's a different style of playing. He's used to playing in the Premier League. I do think he'd do quite well over there. I think he'd do quite well going anywhere else, to be honest. I just think he struggles with the speed of the Premier League and he slows things down a little bit too much. I'd go and get a proper defensive midfielder that we've been lacking. We identified that we needed one back when we signed McAllister, Endo, Gravenberch and Soboslai. We needed the proper 6 in that summer. We were trying to sign Caicedo and Lavia for the whole summer, so obviously we identified that we needed one. We never actually signed one. To be honest, I don't think we'd need anyone else in midfield. I think that's it. If you move on Jones and bring in a proper 6, you've got enough midfielders there. Soboslai, Gravenberch, McAllister. I think McAllister, a lot of the time he's been there, has been played out of position. He's not a 6 himself, and he's been basically made to play that role. So someone that can sit and win the ball back. We haven't had anyone like that since Fabinho left, the proper defensive midfielder. Then moving on from there, I'd say on the left, I'd move Gakpo on. again, as I say, all these players, I love them. Jones, Gakpo, love him, but he's on 250 grand a week, which doesn't affect me. It's not coming out of my pocket, but what it does affect is other players coming into the club and then finances and stuff like that you're looking at, because I don't think Gakpo's more than a bench player. And if a bench player is on 250 grand a week, then other players coming in who think that they should be starting more often are going to be wanting to look at more money than that. It's making players like Sovis like, oh, well, if I'm doing this, I deserve this much money. Maybe he'd ask for I've seen he's asked for 300 grand a week. Maybe he'd ask for that anyway. But when Gakpo's on 250, he's definitely asking for that. And that's not a slate on Gakpo. I just think at the best, he's a bench player. And he could go, like I said about Diaz before he left, he could go to somewhere like Bayern. Obviously not Bayern because Diaz is there, but he could go to another league and he'd smash his head in because he's going to get more time to do what he needs to do. But it's just not going to work for him at us. And he is a good bench player too. But I think next season, Ngomo's going to be 18 and you want him to be the player that's coming on and doing impact stuff, not Gakpo. I haven't got him against Gakpo, but more pace. Ngomo's got more pace, and a lot of the time when he's coming, he's looked better than Gakpo. So I think that's something you've got to look at. Obviously up front, we don't need nothing. Isak coming back. Sorry, I didn't even say, I just said about getting rid of Gakpo. I'd like a dream scenario would be to go and sign Kvaratskhelia. If we could sign him, that'd be fucking unbelievable. I think more realistic ones, you're looking at like Yan Diamande, or another one that I think for me, if it's not Kvaratskhelia, and I don't fucking watch Aston Villa, so I don't know how quick he is, but Morgan Rogers, him coming into our team, linking up with the likes of Wirtz, Ekatike, Isak, I just think it'll be unbelievable. Then obviously you've got to move over to the right hand side because Salah's moving on, unfortunately. And again, dream signing. I don't know. Obviously, I've seen the Bayern president or whatever the fuck he is coming out and saying that they're not selling Olise for no amount of money. But if you could go and get Michael Olise, wow, just an unbelievable signing, unbelievable player. And then if you couldn't get Olise, I don't know. Obviously, you've got to go and get someone. I think it's more, I don't know. If we couldn't get Olise, I genuinely couldn't tell you who I think we should go for. I just don't think you're in a place anymore where you can, like, I've seen that we're not going to have as big a summer, so we're not going to spend as much money. But I just think you've got to go and, I think out of all those players, Olise, I think you've just got to go and get a defensive midfielder. Yeah, we do need, but I think you go and get Olise, then get yourself a defensive midfielder. If you can get, it's hard because I don't know many proper, as I say, I don't watch loads of other teams, so I don't know anyone who's going to be like a proper destroyer. I've seen links with Elliot Anderson, I haven't seen much of him. Adam Wharton, I haven't seen much of him, but he looks quite like skinny. I want someone who's going to be able to get stuck in, be strong on the ball. As I said it already, but I think Slot's just got to go. Obviously, I'm talking about everything to do with the team in the summer. It needs a complete overhaul. You don't want to do too much because then it's too much needing to adapt. But I think he just isn't getting the best out of anyone in that team. And I don't think that all these signings, I don't think you should make with him at the helm and give him any sort of input in terms of like going into a pre-season or any training sessions or anything like that. I know the World Cup's on, but I think you just use the summer as a time to reset, bring in some new players, bring in a new coach. Alonso, I'd love to get him. But yeah, I think I just think we need the overhaul in the summer. And for me, yeah, dream summer would be Olise, Kvaratskhelia or Morgan Rogers, either of the two. A solid defensive midfielder, and to go and get Bastoni. I know that sounds mad because it does sound, that's a massive summer obviously, and I don't think that's going to happen. But for me, that's what a dream Liverpool summer is going to look like this year. But yeah, I just thought I'd make a video about it because I thought it's coming to that time of year. It's getting up to the summer. Well, it's getting up to the summer. Obviously, spring's just starting, but it is going to be getting up to the summer. It's coming towards the end of the season, and yeah, I think we do need big change. Not big change in terms of everyone that's playing all the time, but we do need a few key positions to add more balance to the team. Because if you look at Liverpool at the moment, you'd probably say about 2 players are defensive minded. Frimpong goes forward, Kirkes goes forward, all the midfielders like going forward. You need to go out there and get another defensive minded player. You can still be good on the ball, it doesn't have to be a proper dog, but just someone who is going to be able to get stuck in and win the ball back and read where it's going and stuff like that. But yeah, just thought I'd make a video about it. See ya.